Greetings. Hello, class. Hello, Professor Hensey. My name is Jamil Sanders. I am a student in the EDU 825 class, and I'm taking this time to do my video to answer the four questions on our survey about disposition. The first question that was asked was, let me make sure I get it right. What dispositions do you possess that you think will make you a successful teacher? Well, to answer that, I have to say this. I'm a natural born leader. I've pastored the same church for the last 11 years. And in pastoring, I am asked to do a lot of teaching, both by example and by formal criteria and curriculum. One of the things that I know will make me a good teacher is my ability to lead and my ability to be both honest and also integral. And what I mean by integral is I define integrity as the ability to do right even when you can get away with doing wrong. I do believe that every student has the ability to learn. And so my integrity will allow me to continue to teach even when I know I could get away with not teaching because there's no oversight or certain students have already monikered themselves as not wanting to learn. But if you create the right environment, every student can learn. So I look forward to utilizing the integrity that has been embedded in me as I teach. Also, my accountability. I'm completely accountable to both my students and to my superiors and to myself. You can't live and do right and not be accountable. I was noticing as we were doing this disposition survey that a lot of the things that are asked of me as a teacher or the same things asked of me as a pastor, to be honest, to be reflective, to be curious, to be equal, to bring about equality and equity in the lives of those who I lead and those who I serve. Excuse me, just for a minute. To be able to be dedicated. As I said, I've been pastoring the same church for the last 11 years, and I'm going to continue to pastor it until God calls me home. And I feel the same way about teaching. I've been teaching now for the last 3 years as a long-term sub, and I'm going to continue to teach. Maybe moving up in the administrative side and becoming a principal one day, but for now, I'm going to continue to teach until I can't teach anymore. I do believe that the hardest thing, going on to question number two, what dispositions do I need to work on? I think the disposition I need to work on the most is compassion. And I know that seems kind of strange that I would say compassion out of everything else, but I am one who believes that you have your ability is locked inside of you, and if you don't want to push your ability, then others around you are not going to push it for you. But even then, there are times when your most behaviorally challenged student still needs to have someone be empathetic and compassionate toward them so that they can learn. So I've got to stop being so hard as a man and as a male raised in a single parent household for most of his life and become compassionate, treat each child as if I would my own children, and continue to be the best teacher, parent that I can be. Um, I also feel as though that some of the things that I'm going to work on is how do the dispensations demonstrate your ability to understand other cultures, genders, and learn differences to build stronger relationships with students and families. Honestly, I don't have any biases because I'm, first of all, I'm perceived as an African American male, which I'm not. I'm actually half Jamaican and half Asian. And so I can't be biased or prejudiced towards anyone because I'm so mixed up uh, racially. And then, I'm married to a very strong, independent black woman who was a single mother before we got together. So I have no bias towards single mothers. I have no bias towards any particular race, gender, or creed. And I just believe that God created us all equally and we need to work towards that equality in order to make the best world that we can make. So as I teach, I'm going to teach my students the same thing, that we're all equal and that we have to operate in that equality in order to be the best we can be. Lastly, how do you anticipate using feedback from your annual performance evaluations, observations, and data on student performance to adjust your dispositions and teaching practices to benefit learning? At the school I work at now, there is a wonderful principal. And one of the things that he said the other day while we were in a meeting is, if you as the teacher are not constantly learning, then it's going to become harder for you to teach. That resonated with me, especially when it comes to the assessments of both my students and myself, because those assessments teach me what is working and what isn't working. And if it's not working, I need to adjust it and do something different so that it can work, and then we can make those quick turns and utilize the things that we're learning. And when we recognize the same type of characteristics in another student, be able to make the adjustment quicker than we made with the last one to make it possible for them to learn even faster or get on the same page faster. So I hope that this has helped to answer the questions about my disposition as a teacher and my disposition as a future classroom leader. I believe that I am already operating in these things because I'm constantly in the classroom on a daily basis. My students are learning. They are diverse in their ethnicity, and I've taught in all different types of backgrounds. I've taught in South Carolina. I've taught here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania now. I've also taught in parts of Alabama and parts of Georgia. And so I've seen a lot of different classroom makeup. Some classrooms were predominantly Caucasian, others were intermixed with Caucasian, Hispanic, and African American. Some were predominantly African American and Hispanic, and some were just completely African American. And even in all of those arenas, I've never seen to be one who picks a side, because all of us have to come to the understanding that we all can learn and we all need to learn. So we all should want to learn. So again, I hope that this video helps explain my disposition. I look forward to being a teacher certified in the Philadelphia Public School District. Thank you.